Hi.
Hapaday Jason and Hapaday Guam. So we're really excited. We have, some great news for All Rise applicants. And as you know, All Rise applicants who had A status applications for September 1 will be receiving their payments very soon. We are going to be processing payments today. We expect that we'll see about 18,000 payments that are processed that are going to be about equal about $19 million. And again, these are for A status applications. So there are people who did submit applications which did go into error status. Again, I know a lot of the questions are, okay, well, what happens then to my application? Our team is working to address those error status applications or those suspended applications. And so for those people who were not able to make the cut today because their application was not A status, what will happen is our team actually has a review committee. We're going to be reviewing the reasons for the suspend status. And so, we determine whether or not those eventually get paid. What our taxpayers or applicants can expect is that, yes, we process payments today. We're going to be transmitting those checks and other EFT information to the treasurer so that way they can execute direct deposits and also so that they can mail out those checks. And then in the next week, our applicants can expect that Rev Tax will continue to work to make payment in the next week. We'll have another round of payments so that we can address the, of course, trying to make payments for the applicants who filed after September 1. Now, the reason for us, just really having to be able to pay for September 1 was because we're still working to process applications for September 2, because this is a first in, first out process. We have to make sure that all applications that were A status came in and we get those paid before we move into the next day. But again, we're really excited to just be able to get these, begin to get these payments out, and so that we can get, get them out to our people.
Can you define soon?
Soon is, we're working to process the checks this morning. So after we process the checks, we go ahead and we review them and then we transmit them. At the latest, likely as long as everything goes well, we'll likely transmit them to the treasurer by this afternoon. This is the same process that we follow when we also do the refund checks as well. So they'll go over and likely, again, they'll get to the treasurer no later than Monday morning. And so again, it does take a little bit of time for the treasurer to get those mailed out, but that is the time when the treasurer will review, work to get those mailed out, and then also work to execute any direct deposits. We're excited as well about a few things. One, that 76% of our applications were received online. That's huge. Had we not received that many applications online, we may not have been able to get payments out as quickly as we are getting them. The other thing is, we did just start making payments by direct deposit for refunds back in January. And, we've been seeing waivers 20% or less in terms of refunds are being paid out. Refunds are being paid out by direct deposit. But for the All Rise program, we saw that over 50% of our applicants elected to be paid by direct deposit. So again, that's going to as well reduce the wait time for people, because as long as you've entered all your bank account information correctly, you'll be able to get your All Rise program payment in your bank account. You don't have to go to the post office or anything. So again, those are things that are very exciting for us as we again work to get these payments out to everyone.
Can people still apply?
Yes. Thank you, Bree, for asking that. So the All Rise application period ends next week, Wednesday, September 15 at 5 p.m. At that time, our drivers, our walk-in service will cease. So we will not, of course, we won't receive applications manually. Our online application process will also cease. So we will close our online application as well at 5 p.m. on Wednesday, September 15. So for people who have not yet filed an application, there is still time to do so. Yesterday, we saw about 400 applications come in, and about 50% were online and 50% were manual. If you are having a problem with filing your application online for some reason, again, our team is here so that way you can come in and file it manually. And so, we're here, they're outside from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. And again, one thing I want to just remind everybody is please make sure you review your application very well. Make sure that you spelled your name correctly, your social security number is correct, your mailing address is correct. And also, one of the largest errors that we see is that when people are entering their filing status on the application, it's not following the filing status that's on their 2020 income tax return. So that's also causing people to get an error when we are processing. And again, those cause delays in being able to receive your payment. So, it's important to make sure that you review the application and instructions and just take a few extra moments to make sure that all of your information is correct, because for those applications that were error status, unfortunately, if even if you may have had some type of a kind of a insignificant, perhaps if you want to characterize it that way, error, it is going to cause a delay because it does take time for our team to review to determine whether or not those applications that are in suspend status eventually end up getting paid.
How many applications have been received so far?
So we received over 33,000 applications, 33,200, and of those 33,000, 76% were received online, and of course the remaining, which was just shy of 8,000, was received as of yesterday manually, or for people who came in and walked in. So we have a total of 33,209 applications altogether that have been received, with 25,334 of them being received online. So that is hugely exciting for us. And again, really, without streamlining the process and without, kind of moving or kind of really encouraging people to file online, we honestly could not have been able to get, these payments out today, because, we would likely still be working to process manual applications for the first day.
How many are in suspense status?
So what I'm seeing is we have just shy of 6,000, and that represents about 17%. And so that's quite a bit, and that was as of yesterday. So, those are areas where, even if perhaps it's just a simple error, if it's in suspend status, it does again take time for our team. And because our focus is on a few things: one, processing the applications; two, also processing income tax returns, so that for those applications that where the only eligibility criteria is that's missing is that you don't have a validly filed and processed return. Anyway, so I guess the point is it's very important that you make sure that you dot all your I's, cross all your T's, because, any type of error may cause a delay in you receiving your payment. And then what will happen is, of course, that you'll not be able to receive payment until the point that our team's able to review and make sure that your application is accurate. But we've been working to process income tax returns, Bree. So just to share with you, there may have been some applications that were received and that initially were in error status or suspend status because there was no validly filed and processed return. Because we've been working to process as quickly as we can, and in fact, we had just processed refunds, and you'll see a release on this through May 16. So our team is really trying to move as quickly as possible to get returns processed in our system, so that for those individuals who may not have a validly filed and processed return yet, that they will be able to at some point get payment at the point that we're able to get their return processed in our system.
What about the cap?
Yes, and so I know, of course, there is a $30 million cap that, I think that had carried over from even when the All Rise Act had been enacted or authorized. And, Governor Leon Guerrero has indicated that if there is another $5 or $10 million that is needed, she will work to try to identify funding so that we can work to make payment on that. Now, it's difficult to tell exactly the dollar figure that's associated with the total. We know we're in about the $30 million range, but because we have so many applications that are in suspend status, and we still do have applications that are yet to be processed, the manual ones, it's difficult to tell exactly the dollar figure. What we're seeing, though, is that the average, on average, or the average payout is about a little bit over $1,000. And that means then that, of course, because you can either get paid $800 or $1,600, it means then that the majority of people that are filing are actually single filers, which really falls in line with the population of our tax filing population anyway, where we generally see about 30% of our filers that are married filing joint, but the majority of our filers really are single filers. So again, we're seeing that with regards to the way that the averages are, it really follows, kind of, the way that we see also our kind of our tax returns are being processed and the statistics for our tax returns as well.
So on average, it's about $1,000, right? The applications that you're seeing, you receive 33,209 applications.
Right. But of those, we do have about 5,800 or so that are in suspense status. Some of them will end up being able to be paid out again after our team has reviewed. Some of them will not be paid out at all. The ones that won't be paid out, we're seeing people file even though their AGI exceeded the threshold. We're seeing people file and maybe, for some reason, an application, there's some applications where we have social security numbers or taxpayers who have multiple applications. So we're seeing maybe duplicate applications that are being submitted by applicants, or perhaps where someone may be, we are seeing duplicate applications. It's interesting as well because we're seeing applications where perhaps maybe the status of someone or a deceased status as well. We're seeing some applications where perhaps there may have been an error in the way that an application was submitted, because we're seeing some applications where an individual is indicating indicating a deceased date, and or where our system is indicating a deceased date, but we're seeing an application. So we're still trying to kind of get through those and figure out what's going on with that. But that's why it's very important. We developed or put together a review committee. And again, what will happen is once we're able to clear out a lot of the suspense, the suspense status ones, will work to get those paid. But we're working to develop a similar system to the way that we've been doing EIP and refunds, where we're going to be working to have regular check runs. And so what taxpayers or applicants can expect is that even if they're not in this week's check run or this week's check write, that it's possible that, of course, as we work to process manual applications and also as we work to clear suspend status applications, that they may be in the next check run, which they can expect to happen in the next week, probably toward the end of next week.
What about fraud, Daphne? You seen fraud?
Right. And so, you know what, if there's any indicators of fraud, what happens is we do have a criminal investigation branch within our agency. And so any indicators of fraud, what will happen is, those applications will be submitted or transmitted to our criminal investigation branch. And our criminal investigation branch, they are law enforcement officers in our CIB branch. They do their own investigation, and they make sure, again, that they review and make recommendations or take action as needed. So, again, and thank you for bringing that up, because it's very important, when people do file this application, that they remember that they're signing under penalties of perjury, and that all information that's on the application is correct. And so, of course, if it's found that that people are submitting information that is not accurate, or where they are, of course, committing fraud, and there are elements of fraud as well, though, Sabrina, that have to be met, right? And so, if the elements of fraud are met, and, of course, there could be some very serious consequences. So, when you file these applications, it's, again, although we do, and just like what we do with Forms 1040, it's based on voluntary compliance, right? We take what information people provide us, and we can rightfully rely on it because people sign it under penalties of perjury. But if it's found that there is fraud, or there is some situation where the elements of fraud are seen, then those get transmitted to our criminal investigation branch for them to for their disposition.
Daph, the payout is 800 or 1,000? I thought it was 800.
So the payouts are 800 and 1,600. So 800 for a single filer, and then 1,600 for joint filers.
Right. Daph, tax refunds. You mentioned tax refunds. What date are we on with the processing? So
just to share, this last couple days ago, we processed EIP payments in the amount of a little bit over 1 million. So $1,075,000 in EIP payments. And then we last night processed refund checks to the tune of $7.2 million that cover A status returns that were filed on or before May 16. And so that's already a little bit past the mid portion of the month. Our team is continuing to process so we can get more refund payments out. And so today we'll be processing all rice payments. And then in the next week, we can expect, or in the next coming weeks, we can expect to see advanced child tax credit payments made. So, we have quite a few payments that we're going to be, processing and getting out to our people. And we're really excited about that.
Daph, was there any type of audit or any look at the website and well, just because it was overwhelmed, right, when we started the application process, and we just heard so many different complaints from people getting kicked out, and then I told you there was the one where they were saying they were seeing other people's information. So was there ever like an examination of, and I don't even know how you do it, because I'm just
Right.
concerned
So
if people got kicked out and weren't able to apply, or if they thought they filed and there was no application turned in. I don't know. Did you find anything with that?
sure. A lot of the, of course, in the beginning of the day on September 1, that was on Wednesday, we were receiving reports that there were issues with the system. Our IT vendor and also our Office of Technology, I was in communication with them as soon as we started receiving reports of that. They were monitoring anyway. But so what we saw was, that, and I was advised that our system did not crash, but what was happening was there was just such a significant demand on the system that it was causing, a lot of errors and a lot of delays. But really, right after 7 a.m., our team was already seeing applications come in. So, we saw about 40 applications just shortly after 7 a.m. So we knew it was working. We just, again, there was just such a large demand on it. In the morning of September 1, we were getting a lot of reports, from people who had advised that they were not able to apply online. But by the afternoon, again, the majority of the reports that I were receiving, at least from the people, the ones that had communicated to me, was that they were actually able to resolve that and get a filing to be done online. But if for whatever reason you're not able to file online, if the system errors out, again, we're going to be receiving applications through Wednesday, September 15. So you can go ahead and get them to us manually as well. And we're going to be here, again, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, or you can file it online. But again, if you run into an issue, and my recommendation, Bree and Chris and Jason, is for those people who are having a challenge with trying to apply online, just go ahead and fill out a manual application. Again, make sure everything is correct on the application and come to our office 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Actually, it's interesting because we're really seeing a huge slowdown in the number of applications that are being received. Although we opened at 7 a.m. yesterday, I think our first applicant came at 8 a.m. So, again, we are not seeing a whole lot of traffic because of this.
Daph, I haven't seen you guys report any positive cases at the department. Have you had any?
With regards to positive cases in our agency, I am not aware of any. Our team has, and will report if there are. What we can report, though, is that, we have had family members. We have had instances where our team has reported that perhaps there are family members in their households who were positive. And so, but, we have not, I have not heard of any positive cases in our agency. But I have heard, of course, of family members, including I had my own family members, who were exposed and, of course, who some had tested positive. So, I think that the numbers are so high right now that it's just, it's the likelihood of having a family member or having someone who you have close contact with that is positive or has exposure to a positive person is really, really high. And actually, this was my first, experience with having family members that were so close and immediate to me to be positive. And, again, but as far as I know, I've not heard of that in my agency. But as you know, Chris and Bree and Jason, when we have had situations where there are positives, we have made announcements because, our agency is so large and, of course, we want to make sure that people are safe. There are times when we've had to close down our branches, but that has not happened so far. And we're hoping that, we don't see that happen. Again, we're just really very hopeful that we don't see that happen.
Right on. Well, Daphne, you're always in our prayers. Bree, good?
Yeah. Yes. Thanks, Daphne.
Thank you for coming on this morning.
No, Hagu Mas, and thank you so much, Bree and Jason and Chris, again, for having us on. Again, you know what, we have All Rise program payments that are going to be going out. We have refund payments that are going to be going out. EIP payments are probably already, going out. And then soon advanced child tax credit payments going out. So we're really excited to get a lot of payments going and out. The last thing I want to mention is that next week we're going to be launching the enhanced system for our online driver's licenses and Guam ID renewal. And so, that's going to be exciting too. So we have a lot of exciting things happening in our agency. We're grateful to, your station, KUAM, for getting us on and for making sure that we get out all this information. So have a great day, everyone.
Take care, Daph.
Have a great weekend, Daphne.
Bye, Daph.
Bye.
Hi.
Right on.
Wow. They're processing the All Rise payments.
Right
You
on.
can still apply, as Daphne mentioned.
What'd you say, 18,000 a first batch?
Right.